This conference will
This
now be
conference
recorded.
will now be recorded. Wherein in Appian, already anyway you are into this business processing, right? I think you are into support projects, right? So you worked on support projects, right? You worked on the support projects.
Yes.
Am I right on that? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So here actually we need to create a design part as far as the project is concerned, because we can take, of course, we have some demo projects kind of stuff in Appian, wherein we were not taking those into consideration. Let's have a sample application, something like, for example, loan management, right? So what exactly loan management is all about? So wherein a customer, because I'm taking a sample example of loan management, because that is something easy for anyone to understand with. If you take loan management in any of the uh, banking process, usually processing of loan or knowing about the status of loan is something part of regular activity, right? So when we are going to develop, when you are managing any kind of functionalities in banking, when a customer has applied for a loan, okay, so what is the first thing we do when customer is planning to apply for a loan? The basic documentation will be taken by us. Am I right? Right. So basic documentation will be taken, followed by this KYC information, means know your customer. Who is the customer, right? About are this customer having the valid residential address, all that, right? So all these things consider as KYC information. So based on the KYC information, what usually we do? Based on the KYC information, we see whether a customer is having valid financial details and financial documents with him or not. At the same time, that we are trying to cross check with the kind of loan what customer is expecting. This is what we call it as loan eligibility case. Understood, Aishi? Are you following? Right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So loan eligibility and all. So what we have to do, we need to create an application for a loan eligibility, because either the customer is eligible for the loan application or not. Means is he eligible for the loan or not? Point number one to be noted with. Second, if the customer is eligible for the loan, how much loan is he capable to handle with? Because whatever requested by the customer will not be provided, because it's purely depends upon the kind of financials what he has submitted so far. Okay, hence we need to either we have two options in this console, wherein either if you want to import some kind of information from external resources, for example, we have some additional information which was already there on the other document somewhere from outside, wherein you can import those kind of packages and all everything from outside. This is point number one to be noted with. So when usually this will be happens, when this kind of process or procedure will be happen, when there is a transformation of application which is taking place from other to now. Because assume that there was an existing business process which was already been initiated earlier. Assume that, right? Assume that. Now what you are doing, you are adding some more packets and all everything, and you are transforming your application to Appian. Because earlier assume that there was a transformation. When there is a transformation taken place, means when there is a transformation of application, means there is an existing business process wherein you want to transform your existing business process to the present condition, means to the present I mean to say to the present situation. If you want to transform yourself and all that, usually this is what something will be used here, means you are transforming or you are importing packages from external resources, or else either import or export can also be made so far, wherein import can be made, means if you want any kind of additional information which was there, as far as the carry project transformation is concerned, this can be done here. Now we are not doing anything of that sort. We are going to create a new application. Am I right or not? Right? We are going to create a new application where a new application can be created with. So when you are going to create a new application, there are three options you need to see, because I'm going to explain each and every option so that you'll be having a clear idea. The first option is to create a project right from the beginning, right from the basic part of it. Second, creating using application builder. So what usually the difference between application builder with creating from scratch? What would be the difference? Because, for example, being you are a technical person, assume that you are a technical person, you will be having expertise in technology. Right? You'll be expertising on coding or something of that sort. Now, what you can do, you have experience on developing code, but you may not be experiencing on the rest of the activities of the project. Agree or not, right? So, as you are not experienced on those back-end activities and all that, so what you can do, Appian has that advantage. Of course, BPM has an advantage, to be honest. But if you can see Appian as an advantage, Appian has an advantage where you don't require to develop application right from the scratch, because there will be always a support from Appian where you can create a basic application builder, or you can create in full application builder using it, right? So because there is a support will be given from the Appian itself, wherein you can create full application and all everything. So each and every activity as far as the objects creation is concerned, or else if you want to create any kind of reports, or if you want to manage the documentation, because whenever you are writing the project or whenever you are working on the project, wherein we must have the provision to manage the documentation part, because documentation plays a vital and important role in managing the process of the application. Because being a developer, what you are doing, you are going to write the code and you are going to design the application to the next level. But when in real environment, for example, you are giving this information or you are giving this project to the next level, means you are giving this project to the customer, for example. When customer keeping this application online, means if he is using this online, what is required here? Customer should have a capability to understand what exactly this project meant for. So at the same time, if any new people have approached so far, wherein they have to provide some kind of new induction programs and all everything to their new employees. So for that, document management is something essential and important. This is what we call it as user manuals and all. If you remember, we used to prepare user manuals in the beginning days. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So documentation and all that. So user manuals and all everything will be prepared. So document management and all everything is being used here. At the same time, whatever the activities are we doing and all, every activity can be tracking down using this, followed by task management and all. So hence we are not using any kind of application builder here, because as in when anyway you are all in the beginning of Appian, you are all into the support projects of Appian. Hence I am not going for an application builder as full, because we don't require any kind of support. Wherein we are doing it, we are creating right from the scratch, right? Because if you are creating using application builder and all that, you have to choose the data source from where we are taking all that. So we are creating an application right from the scratch. Okay. Now, loan management system. Shall we keep this name, or are you going to prefer any kind of name for this?
No. Okay, that's
No.
fine.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's fine. Loan management system is it right? Now here is a description. Here we need to write down the description of the project. The loan process and management system is an application which will process application which will provide the status of the loan application, okay, submitted by the customer. Understand? Clear? Aishi, are you clear or not? Yes. Right.
Yeah.
So this is what the description is. Means if a customer has, there are two set of things you need to understand. The first thing is that customer is submitting a loan application. right? So if customer is submitting a loan application, there are some procedures to be followed with. Means what are all the required documents and all everything. That information will be given to the customer first. So once you are giving this information to the customer, what usually customer do? Customer will follow what kind of procedures to be followed with. At the same time, what kind of documents do I need to submit and all everything will be taken care of by the customer itself. So once a customer has identified, once customer felt, yes, these are the information and all, whenever customer has given, whatever the procedure in the backend team usually do, means using Appian and all that. So backend team will categorize whatever the information customer has given. Then they try to cross check about all these KYC details, eligibility criteria, because eligibility of two types. One is about KYC confirmation is required, because without KYC confirmation, you're not authorized. Being a banking backend team and all that, you're not authorized to go for other transactions, because KYC information has to be cleared with, because that is the fundamental and basic thing. Assume that the KYC information was already confirmed with. The next, financial details and all everything. So how much loan is he expecting us to provide? In addition to that, we are going to compare what kind of financials he has submitted so far. Right? This is what generally the description we have to see. So usually there are some conditions when you are developing this application with reference to the loan application I'm talking about, right? Whatever we discuss is only relating to this from now onwards. So whenever you are going to develop this application, usually there will be some set off period. Usually loan management system or loan status will be given in another week or 10 days time. This is how generally these are the conditions. Being an user, being a back-end employee, back-end business, back-end team of your banking and all everything, you people will tell. Right? Because whenever customer has requested an application, requested a loan, usually what will be the time, average time will be taken, will be taken into account. So description will be written. So wherein you need to create a project for this, right?
Yeah.
Right. So here now, whenever you are creating an application, the very first thing what you need to know is you need to know about the application security. This is first thing which we have to be given with. Means there are a few things we need to see. There are two people will be there. One is admin, second is users. What admin do? Admin is a person who will be managing the application. Means whatever the security controls and all everything will be on the hold of admin. Next, users. Users nothing but people who are using the application right from the beginning, right or not? Because they are the ones who uses the application, and they are nobody have any kind of authority to work with, because they can work with, of course, they cannot access the data and all everything from any of that sort. Now we have to provide a permission and all that, right? So what kind of permission are you going to provide? Here's administrator is assume that I'm an administrator, wherein I have the administrative access, wherein I am not providing any kind of access to anyone, because as far as the security considers is itself is concerned and all that, other users doesn't have any kind of access. Only viewer, for example, viewing purpose is an access are be giving. Now, can you tell me why am I giving an access, an information permission level called viewer for the people? Why am I giving this? Can you tell us the difference? Why
Y-
I'm giving an option called
yes.
viewer?
Yeah, because viewers will only be able to see the application in the tempo.
Sorry.
Viewers will only be able to see the application in tempo,
Okay. So why don't I give an option called editor for the users?
because editors can edit the process models, and like they have the access of APN designer as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, viewers can view the application only from the front end.
Right. So only default users can view the application. This is what it is. Now, If you want any kind of adding user groups and all, everything can also be done with this. Means if you want to add any kind of users. Again, users here will be differentiating into two different parts. Whoever is developing the application, followed by the management of the applications. Whoever they are, you need to give, right? What kind of information you are providing to them and all that, right? So this is what generally your information is all about. Now you are mentioning administrator is myself. Myself is an administrator, and whoever the users we have and all everything, I am giving an option for the users to view the status of the project, right? View the status of the application. This is what it was. Understood or not?
Yeah, so you mean to say is now we are giving viewer access to administrators.
We are not giving viewer access to administrators. Whoever the users, for them we are giving viewer option.
Okay, okay, okay.
Understood, right? So because myself having the administrator access, okay, myself is having an administrator access,
Yeah,
wherein yeah, application security updated successfully, right? So I'm taking an option because being an administrator, being a creator of the application, I am taking care of the security of the application. I am having admin controls. Wherein whoever the users do we have and all everything, users have an option to view the application, not for anything apart, because they are not authorized. They are not here to do any kind of works and all that, right? So this is what it is. Now here, the first thing is that wherein there are different application objects we have to create. Now here there is an option we have. I think in the beginning time, I think last session I have told, right? For example, you want to create some objects. Before you're going to create an objects, you need to understand what are all the objects to be created with. Means, do you want to connect these with other systems? Connected system is one kind of object. Or do you want to store the data types, decisions, documents, expression rules, blah, blah, blah. Now here we have to identify the object types first. Which object types do we require us to create or to manage? That has to be decided. First thing is that you need to connect with process model, right? Object type is process model because you need to create process models and all everything as part of the project. Hence, process model is something which is required here. Next, if you want to see the reports, why reports to be required? Because unless until if you are not creating the reports, what will happen? If you are not creating the reports, whatever the reports you want to see, everything cannot be seen here. Hence, you need to object. So, whenever you are creating an object, remember one thing, you have to see and you need to enable what are all required here. Means, do you require process model? Do we require reports? What are all the object types you want to enable you to work while you are working on the project? That has to be enabled here. Now, here I am mentioning data type, decisions, document is required, expression rules. I want to integrate, right? So web API.
yeah.
Is it sufficient, or uh, do we require to add anything apart? Right? So these are the object types we are enabling, right? We are
Yeah,
enabling an object type of data type.
interfaces.
Sorry,
Interfaces.
sorry, I did. Yeah, yeah. Interfaces can be created, right? So we are adding some interfaces and all of that here, right? Interfaces. The first thing is data type. We are going to enable the data type. What are the different data is available? Because there are many data are available, right? So we need to
Yeah.
create the data type first. Next, what kind of decision are we going to take out of this? Next, what kind of document, what all the documentation is required? Followed by this, what are the different expression rules do we need to manage with? Next, how to integrate, what are the different applications to be integrated with? Interface designings, creation of process models to make things more easier and transparent. Next, report generation. At the same time, web API is required. Application programming interface required. Means, as I mentioned in the earlier session about web API and all that, nowadays the web API Our web services, API integrations and all everything are becoming mandatory. So why are these becoming mandatory? Because whenever you are going to create any kind of application nowadays, whatever the credentials do we require, we don't require to sign up all the time. Because especially when you take some kind of websites and social media networking websites, you don't require to sign up. What is required? A valid login credentials of a Gmail account or something of that sort is something essential or important is enough for you. So accessing the website. So you don't require to sign up anything. Whatever the Gmail account or whatever the authorized mail account you have and all, through that you can connect with any kind of application. So for that, what is required? Being a programmer, for example, you are a developer, you are going to write API for that, right? Web API connectivity means this is what we call it as web services. In web services, we have different things. SOAP, UDDI, WSDL, lot of things are there. So web API enability is something essential and important when you are working on this, right? Or not? Understood? Ayushi, are you
Yes.
clear or not?
Yeah.
Right? So these are all. So now, if you want to add existing items, do you have any kind of existing application contents or folder contents or existing objects and all that? You can do it. Otherwise, you can create a new data type, means whatever you have decided here, right? Whatever you have decided, whatever you have managed so far, means you are creating a new data type here, right? You are creating a record type, whatever you want, you can create your own thing. Assume that new a document has to be created first, right? For example, you want to create a document, wherein if you want to create documents, you have to upload information from the external sources. Means if there is any other information which is required for us, means why is this required? Because if you want to create documents, why creation of it? Because there are some external information which will be available and given by the customer with reference to the project, because there are some project documentation plays a vital and important role here. This is where being a business analyst plays a vital and important role. Being a developer, we need to understand the reason why I told you earlier as well, because as being a business analyst, whenever as being a developer, whenever you are going to create an application or to managing your application and all that, with the help of designer, means with the help of architect, with the help of business analyst, we do all these activities. Understood, Aishi? Right? We'll be doing this activity.
Yes.
Now, these documentation and all, everything will be prepared by the business analyst. Business analyst is the person who will be giving you the all the documentation, whatever the required documentation do we need, all the documentation will be given by the business analyst. Now, for example, right? Now example, for example, loan management system, right? So assume that this was the documentation which is given by the client. Now, being a business analyst have to write down the documentation of the loan management system. It's an application which will track the progress and status of the loan applicant. Followed by that, we provide the eligibility. We provide the eligibility of what customer has submitted so far. Okay, this is what the introduction. Now the requirements, because you need to write down the requirements. These requirements will be of two different types. One, you need to write down the requirements, because we are business analyst support is required. Means if you want to create any kind of documentation here, what support, whose support is required? You need to have a support of Business analyst. Why? They are the one who is providing you the documents and all that. So first of all, requirements document you have to prepare. Understood, Aishi? Right? First of all, you need to prepare requirements document. 1 minute. Right. So first of all, we have to prepare different documents and all that. Now, first thing is business requirements we need to prepare. Next, because this has to be uploaded. So first we need to have this information with us. Stakeholder or end user requirements. Next, transitional requirements. Next, solution requirements. Next, regulatory requirements. Understood, Aishi? Are you following? Are you following or?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Now
Yeah.
here, this documentation is needed because if you want to manage the documentation or if you want to create any kind of documents, first of all, whatever is related information with respect to loan management system has to be created. Usually this is with the help of business analyst we have to do. Now you could ask me one thing, Raj, being a developer, why am I going for documentation, for what reason? Because being a developer, you are here to design the application, to develop the application. So what criteria, under what criteria you are going to develop the application based on the information which is given by the client, right? Means inputs, I mean to say. Who has to translate these inputs into functional features and all that? Who is going to provide all this? This is being provided by the this is being provided
Developer.
by the business analyst, not by the developer, right or not? Because there is a
Okay.
hierarchy process you see. For example, client give the information to the business analyst. What business analyst do? Business analyst will gather all the requirements. He translate all the requirements into documents. These documents will be given to the development team. Means, for example, developer. To developer, business analyst will give this information. So, being a developer, what you do? You are trying to develop the application based on the documentation what you have received so far. Right. Now, here you may have a doubt. Raj, loan management system usually same for everyone, right? So why do we require this kind of documentation is needed? Because even though the standard structure of loan management remains the same for everyone, there will be some minor differences approaches as far as the approach is concerned will be varying from one bank to another bank. Do you agree or not? Right. For example,
Yes.
KYC information is something essential for any of the bank. Right? Without KYC information, you are not authorized to cross-check all the financial details. So, for example, the fundamental rule is based on the financials, what financials customer has submitted, the valid financials, again I mean to say, right? Valid financials. On that 80%, 80% is the amount which is capable of providing loan to the client. This is what generally the condition, assume that, right? This is the condition. But this is where generally business rules comes into picture. For any of the enterprise, business rules are this. Some banks will take 80% into account. Who take 80% usually? 80% is in 80% is the information will be taken by the nationalized banks. Usually, most of the times, if you observe, nationalized banks will give less percentage. Means they'll give either 70, 75%, 80% at max. Right? More than 80%, they don't provide loan. But if you take NBFCs, what is NBFC stands for? Non-banking financial institutions. Means private institutions, I mean to say. Private finance institutions Private finance institutions don't provide 80%. To provide financial institutions, if you require, they provide till 90% also. Understand? Because scheduled as well as the government banks have a provision. At the same time, they have some restrictions wherein they cannot provide more than 80%. This is the fundamental rule, right? This is the business rule. But this business rule again varying from non-banking financial segments, because non-banking financial segments say that we are allowed and we will be eligible to provide 90%. It is not 80%. We can provide up to 90%. These business rules and all everything will be changed from one bank to another bank. Means from one customer to another customer based on the business rules what they have. So these percentage will be changed. Some persons can be accepted with 80%. Some people will accept with 90%. Understood, Aishi? Are you clear or not? Now, so these kind of minor differences wherein we have to go with. Again, these business rules again varying depending on the kind of business decision what you're going to take out of it. Now, here being a developer, what is required? You need to know what are all the business requirements we need to create. Now, what would be the business requirements? Now you tell. Because you being a developer, you need to know what are all the business requirements you need to develop. So what is business requirement? What is meant by business requirement?
Uh, I think requirements of the bank, like if a
High
bank
level
is
requirement.
providing
High level.
loan, so bank should always be in profit. So for that, we like some conditions, like if we will take a loan up to this amount, then this much will be the percentage of interest. This kind of rules and regulations.
See, the fundamental thing is not that. First of all, customer means bank. I mean to say, I'm writing it as bank, right? Customer, I mean bank, wants to circulate their money to others by the way of providing loans. Against to that, they will get interest on the loan what they have issued. Understood? Clear? Understood or not? Aishi? Right?
Yes.
Are you clear or not? Right? This is what we call it as business requirements. So business requirements obviously will be from a high level. Business requirements obviously from a high level it will be. Now the second is stakeholder or end user requirements. Who are end users? Who are end users? And what they require. This is what we call it as stakeholder and user requirements. So who are end users here? For example, backend team of bank will be called as end users, right or not? Right? Whoever is in the backend team of a bank, who will be managing all the application, they're tracking the status, all that. So these people will be called as end users. Understood, Aishi? Here.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
transitional requirements. Transitional requirements vary if there is any existing application is providing, is there. So based on that, sometimes we may need to enhance the application or developing a new application. Here there is a point, because being a developer you need to understand two things. You are going to provide a solution, accept it. But the two things what you need to consider is this a new application you are developing, or are you enhancing the existing application to the next level? Understand, Aishi? Are you understood or not?
Yes.
Right? Understood. So there are two things. Being a developer, you are providing solution, you are writing the code, and you are designing the application. Accept it. But before you are going to do, first of all, you need to know two things. Either there is an existing loan management system which customer has, wherein customer has requested us to add some new features and functionalities into the existing thing. This is point number one. Or else customer may be asking us to develop new application. Understand? Clear? Very clear? Right?
Yes.
Either that or this means either you are asking customer to, your customer is asking us to upgrade the application to the next level by adding some new features and functionalities, or else we may be developing new application. Now what you are taking to create new application, we are not adding. That's the reason if you see there, new application and existing, we have two options was there. New application means you are creating an application right from the scratch, right from the building of the scratch you are preparing it. But whereas in the second level, what is required in the second level, if you see, there is an application wherein you are going to add some new features and functionalities. But as far as our example is concerned, we are doing a new application. This is what we call it as transitional requirements. Understood? Right? Now,
Yes.
here sufficient requirements. What are all the features, functional and non-functional requirements do we need to develop? So these we call it as solution requirements. Now I am going to provide you a homework from your side. From you, I need a help is for loan management system. What are all the features, as well as inside the features, what are all the functional and non-functional requirements will be there. I want you to write a document on it. I want you to prepare some information relating to that by tomorrow. Because when we are
Okay.
creating an application, we need to know first features, right? So what features are we creating? Every feature will have either again functionalities, functional and non-functional requirements will be understood. Clear? Uh,
Yeah.
Ayushi,
Okay.
right? I want
Yeah.
you to prepare. What I want is loan management system. For loan management system, I want you don't take every feature, because if you take loan management system, there are a lot of features. Because if that was the case, it takes a lot of time for us. Don't need it. I don't need all that, because what you want is project experience. You take any sample 2-3 features. Don't take all the features, even though it is available. Only take only 2 or 3 features. Assume that there were only 2-3 features in loan management system. I want you to write down the features. What are all the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, whatever the features you would like. I want you to write down the features. In below to each and every feature, what functional and non-functional requirements that feature should consist of.
Yeah.
I want that information to be provided by you. Clear, Ayushi?
Okay. I will write it, but I am not sure that it will include all the objects or not. So you just yeah, you
You
just
do your
verify
best.
it. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
do.
That's right. You do your best. I'm not assuring. I'm asking. I'm not asking any assurance from you. Whatever the best you
Yeah.
can, you do it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I will do that.
So whatever the best you can do, you please do it, and uh, keep it with you. Tomorrow we will add those requirements and all everything. At the same time, immediately that document will be imported in here, and we create and we keep documents. From there, objectives creation and all everything will be taken place. Right,
Yeah,
Aishi?
okay. Okay.
Okay then. Please. Thank
Yeah.
you.